Speaking of veterans, I don't know how he demands his own music now, but let me bring him on.
It's the professor.
Dad, the professor, good morning.
Yes.
Love you.
Good morning. Good morning, all.
Morning.
Doing what? Happy Veterans Day, Dad.
Thank you very much. And Rose, are you there this morning?
I am. Hi, how are
Dad,
you?
before we do the bit, I'm going to tell you 10 minutes before I have to play commercials. So,
leave
you know,
him
the show ends at 10. So,
Well, I just want to ask Rose, how's the little Rosebud?
Oh, she's doing good. She's moving a lot, kicking me in the ribs.
Well, again, best wishes to you and Clint.
Oh, thank you so much.
And Riley, I have to tell you, I saw the pictures of your wedding.
Oh.
At the risk of sounding sexist, I must say that you were a very beautiful bride. Just a beautiful bride.
Dad.
Oh, thank you,
Dad.
Pops.
Dad.
I love him so much. Can we just bring him here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we just keep him here in the studio?
Well, he's got to say something nice about his son
Forever.
first. Anything you want to say about your son,
You
Dad?
don't have to do that.
Well, John, I will tell you that this is a bit of an anniversary for me.
Why is that?
Well, it was 55 years ago, 1966, when I was in Vietnam, and I was 18 years old. So I have to say that 55 years goes by rather quickly.
Well, congrats is the word, but obviously appreciate your service and glad you made it back. But Dad, we always talk to you on Veterans Day because the veteran experience was certainly different when you got back from Vietnam. But even though it is, you still help out with the VA now and help out our current soldiers coming back from battle.
Absolutely. One of the principles of the Vietnam Veterans of America is that never again will one generation of veterans be forgotten by another generation of veterans. And so I've had the privilege in class and at the VA to meet and interact with younger veterans from Afghanistan and from Iraq. And I have to say, it's encouraging to see these young people because you know the future of this country is in very, very good hands.
Oh.
They're wonderful young people, and it was my privilege to interact with them. Being a veteran in this country, I think, means a great deal. It means a great deal because all of us who are veterans served to honor this country and to honor the people of this country. And again, it was my privilege to serve, and if I had the opportunity, I would do it again. Of course, at my age, they would want me, but nevertheless, it was still a pleasure to serve.
Well, I think it's important too. Vietnam veterans again were not treated kindly when they came back from the war, and I think that's why, especially if you see a lot of Vietnam vets like wear the hats and stuff, like say an extra thanks to them too. Because Dad, if you want to touch on a little bit when you got back from war. You were met with protesters in America.
Well, it was a difficult time, and when I was in Vietnam, it was in 66, 67, and we didn't have Armed Forces radio just didn't reach the area that we were, and so we didn't hear a lot about what was going on in the States. It was somewhat of a surprise when we did come back. And many of us felt, well, I started college when I came back right away. And actually, I was 20 when I started college, so I was a little bit older. And we weren't treated very well. There was an English professor, I'll never, ever forget her. And because I was older, she sort of picked me out. And she asked me if I served in Vietnam. And I said, yes, I did. And she said, well, I hope you're proud of yourself and all the destruction you caused and all the people that you killed.
Jeez.
And then,
Can't imagine.
and then she said, I'm out to get you. I just want you to know that I'm going to get you.
Oh, my God.
And, of course, when I grew up, you didn't rat out people. You just didn't do it. But in this particular case, I did. I did go to the dean and I said, look, I shouldn't be subject to this sort of abuse. And for a professor who was said in class that she's out to get me and accused me of all sorts of things that I didn't do. But again, my experience was not atypical of other veterans during that time, and some fared far worse. I remember in college, many of the female students used to have binders. This was before backpacks, so they had these big 3-ring binders, and there are stickers that said, "Women say yes to men who say no." And the implication was that if you opposed the war and you said no and you refused to go, refused the draft, that they were interested in you or they supported what you did. So that was part of it. But I'll never forget, one of my first jobs outside of when I graduated, probably my second job when I graduated, there was a mid-level manager who refused to meet with me because I was a Vietnam veteran, and because of that, he knew that I was crazy and would start killing in a minute. Yeah.
Oh my!
So, yeah, there were a number of these things that happened, but I belonged to a breakfast group on Thursday mornings of Vietnam veterans and Korean War veterans, and there's probably about 25 of us. We always meet for breakfast, and it's sort of an affinity group. No one really talks about the war, but there's a shared camaraderie, and there's a shared brotherhood. Those of us who did serve over there, and it's really a good feeling, and it's a great bunch of guys, and I look forward to it every Thursday morning. Of course, it's a little bit later on in the morning than when you folks call, but nevertheless, I look forward to it.
Dad, there's I think the stigma about mental health with veterans has kind of dissipated the last couple of years. We talked to Dr. Oz about it too. If there's any veterans listening now who maybe need to get help or just talk to somebody, do you have anything you want to say to them, knowing that you've worked with the VA and you volunteer at the VA and you've seen people in rough shape?
Well, I have, and post-traumatic stress syndrome is a fact, and I see it not only in Vietnam veterans, but also in Korean veterans, and I also see it in younger veterans from Iraq and Iran. All of us who've been through those traumatic experiences need to talk to other people, need to talk to professionals, and get their feelings out and sort of unburden themselves. And so I really strongly urge all veterans, but especially the younger veterans right now, to go to the VA and to talk to people about their experiences and unburden themselves and share their experiences. And you perhaps will join an affinity group of other veterans of your age who went through similar things that you went through. And again, those groups typically are not to share stories as much as they are, although some of them do, but they're to foster a spirit of camaraderie and enjoy the company of other veterans, because we have a lot in common. All of us have a lot in common. And what we have in common is service in this country. And this is the greatest country in the world.
And Dad, I know you saw Bob Hope do stand-up in Vietnam. Would you say I, as your son, better or about the same as stand-up?
I think that if you lost a lot of the language that you use that is inappropriate, you will be just as good. Now, note that when you challenged me to do stand-up comedy, which I'd never done before, I did do it, and I didn't use any language that was offensive.
That's
and
true.
I think you could do the same thing, John.
I doubt it, Pops. I doubt it.
You lied, though. You know what I mean?
What's that?
You lied on stage. Also, where do you think I learned I learned the language from you and Mom? So technically, you made me.
We never use that language at home.
Okay.
And you know we never use that language at home.
All right.
Ever, especially your mother. She would never use that kind of language. Ever.
Well, listen.
He just dadded you big time.
Dad,
Get him, Pops.
always a pleasure. Happy Veterans Day. I'm very thankful that you made it home, and I love you.
Well, and listen, I love you too, son, and you are very, very blessed to have such a wonderful group of people around you. Certainly Eric, and certainly Rose, and certainly Riley, and Hoodie. You're very blessed to have a wonderful group of people around you. And Rose, again, best wishes with that little rosebud of yours.
Oh, thank you so much.
how it's going to make you and Eric are going to be, I'm sure.
Clint. Her and Clint, not Eric. Clint's the dad. Eric is not the dad.
I met Clint before.
Yes.
You're going to make wonderful parents. I know you are.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and again, it was fun to see the pictures of your wedding, Riley. As I said before, you were a very stunning bride. And
Thank you.
Marshall was a very fortunate young man.
We're both very, very fortunate. We're lucky people, Pop.
And any final thoughts to your son that any positive things about your son you want to say? Just while we're here.
Well, none that I can think of at the moment, John.
Mm-hmm. All right. All right, Dad.
You so much.
Love you. Talk to you later. Happy Veterans Day.
Best. He really is.
Thank you, son, and I love you very much, son.
Talk to you later. I love you too.
Oh
Bye.
my God, I want to bottle his
I
energy.
love him.
He's a good guy. That's my dad, Vietnam veteran.
He's
And
the best.
I think the biggest thing of that is if you are a veteran and you need help or you need somebody to talk to, VA is a great place to go.